Live on YouTube, it's the Chromaniacs Postmatch show. Oh boy. San Diego FC trying ever so hard to hang on to a result that they had no business having to begin with, and then trying to give it away once, twice, third time's a charm. SDFC falls to Portland 2-1 at Snapdragon Stadium. The MLS losing streak is 5. Since being 10 men down, 10 against 11 against Toluca and winning, apparently somebody made a Faustian deal inside San Diego FC. Just give us this one result. I know we're a man down against Toluca, but we're at home. It's special. Let's get this win. We'll give you anything. And the monkey's paw curls because this team hasn't won since that magical, fateful night. They have not won a single game. And this is now 3 that I would say that they gave away a result at the end of the match. Twice it was turning wins into draws. That was back in the good old days when we were just kicking 2 points off the side of the ship by turning a win into a draw. Today, it's a draw into a loss as, again, 3 different times Portland has a golden chance to score, and they finally get the job done, and 2-1 is the final score. Craig Elston, Tony Sanchez, Alex Pena here with you live, understanding the frustration of everyone, to be sure, on this frustrating night, trying to keep the balance of recognizing that it is professional soccer and how lucky this club was last year not to have a run of continuous frustration that indoctrinated new fans. No, instead, San Diego fans got to feel like everything goes our way. We don't have to go through this. Guys, every soccer club goes through this at some point, and it is suffering time for SDFC fans tonight.
Yeah, it's time to suffer, and I think everyone's feeling it. I'm feeling it. It's not great when you're losing 12 or 2-1 and you lose it in stoppage time, and that's again you lose in a position where you could have at least drawn and gotten a point, and you lose it in the other team for the first time since last July win an away game. That's terrible. That is just terrible. Like, you should not give up points like that. So
I mean, they did everything in their power to give up points, like you said, Alex. And the thing about it is that at the end of the day, this is a team that's trying to put things together, stop the bleeding, like suture it somehow. And, you kind of, it's almost like that Scooby-Doo, chase Benny Hill when they go into one door and try to find their form. They come back out, and now 3 people are injured. They come back in with 3 new people, and now it's just everywhere for San Diego FC. And I mean, tonight, like, I feel like, Chiva earned his week today, this week of journalism, and I let him close it out. So he was out there at Snapdragon Stadium. So we'll hear from Mikey Varas and Honors Dreyer in terms of what they believe went down tonight. But, I'll kind of set up a question for you is today, and because we've been hearing this, 5 in a row loss, but gradual improvements. Is there a gradual improvement today? Is there anything of that nature?
No. Okay.
I will say yes.
Hold on.
I will say yes-ish. It was good in the first half. I thought they were really creating chances. Vasquez looked really good on the left wing. And they were really moving the ball forward, and I really liked what they were doing in the first half. Second half, different story. Not sure what happened, but as soon as Jeppe came off with injury, which should be a concern for everybody, he's the one guy you should probably not have come off for anything. As soon as that happened, everything went to hell. It just broke down. That's when Faree, for some reason, started going off his line. They started really moving the ball forward, and they gave up the goal. And yeah, there was no organization in the midfield. Soma had to play the Jeppe role. Ani had to play the Godoy role, and then you had Bryce Duke out there for some reason. You had to have him out there, and he's the guy that's out there in the midfield. And what exactly does that guy give you?
Almost chipped the keeper. Almost chipped the keeper for a goal.
Yeah.
At the end of the match, he wasn't a disaster. Originally, Tony, emotional instant reaction. I say no, because the same issues that have led SDFC to lose are the reasons why SDFC loses tonight. So in that sense, they did not improve tonight. Was the attack more cohesive tonight? Were there better chances generated, in the hole? Yes. Could they have gotten a result tonight? Yes. But I think in saying that, you got a goal. The goal came on a pen. The pen came on a pretty bad handball. It came on a player error. It wasn't like, oh, well, we created this incredible chance and they had to stick out their hand to block it like Dua against Toluca. No, it was just a guy turned and his hand was out and the ball hit it. Ball wasn't even going toward the net. It was better. But let's talk about Jeppe. I think this is the real story of this game. Jeppe Tverskov has been the engine of this team since day one. He is a player who is, all over the league stat sheet in terms of passes and passes completed. He's the guy that doesn't get a lot of credit because mostly what he does is in the middle and he's not in the finishing part of it. But Alex, I agree with you that everything fell apart when Jeppe left the game. Furthermore, that we don't know his status, and we'll hear whatever Mikey has to say about it afterwards. But if he misses time, that's actually, in my opinion, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or if you disagree. I think that's a tougher injury for this team than when they've been going one center back out, one center back out, one center back out because of red cards along the way. I think Jeppe is going to be the one that you don't realize how much you're missing him until you actually have to do the thing you've never done, which is play without him. And having said all of that, they wouldn't have been down 1-0 if not for Jeppe getting his pocket picked. And, just a little flurry of fancy here for Portland. Whoop, got it. Cut, score. Just a brutal 10 seconds out of 25 minutes that otherwise were going pretty okay for SanDiego FC.
Yeah, you're not gonna be 100 100 out of 100 and trying to keep the ball, and that was a bad time for Jeppe Tverskov. But yeah, he's the captain, he's the leader of this team. He's fighting for his players out on that field, especially when Christopher Valdez out there being a dickhead and running into players. It's not intentionally trying to foul you. And he's trying to fight for, Lewis Morgan out there. But yeah, that's going to be a huge blow. Yeah, he gave up a goal. He's looking tired. He really is. And but either way, he is needed in that midfield. Yeah, how do you feel about it, Tony?
I mean, this team, the spine is Jeppe Tverskov, and both defensively in the midfield, moving things forward, and really haven't seen the best of him because he hasn't been allowed systematically to be at his best. And again, because red cards, injuries, and whatever situation you want, but he's definitely been overextended for a while. This entire season, he's just been in situations where I think it's been fortunate that he hasn't been injured up until now. And, there's no good time for an injury. And I think the fact that he does go down, we'll still see the prognosis for that. I'm not sure if we got an answer in the post-match, but he was requested. Chiva did ask to see if we can get Jeppe out there, but, not available. So typically when that happens, it's just one of these things where it's more than certainly an injury. So we'll wait on the status of that. But is it the worst thing for a team? Yes, the answer is yes. But is it the worst thing for him to be able to get some recovery time, to be able to come back and at some point just kind of punt this into whenever? And the World Cup is coming up, less than 50 days away. You're going to have that break. You're going to have a lot of time to recover and just kind of grind it out and see what happens. Because I'm looking over at LAFC next week. Do we really think that's going to be a result for San Diego? The way things are happening, if Jeppe was there, even if Jeppe was there, do we really think that was going to be a result? It's going to be a tough match anyways. I'm seeing people that are saying, yeah, I'm just going to go to watch Sonny play, like in person. Like, this is a world-class player and still going to support San Diego FC, but I get to see, my price of admission is to watch the opponents play. And hopefully for them, they get their money's worth. But, it's kind of the state of the things right now. And at the end of the day, I think it's terrible for Jeppe. It's not good for San Diego FC. But I think this is one of these things where it's just maybe life's just telling you, like, hey, cool it down. Like, you need to slow down, and this team needs to slow down, and this is a slowdown that this team needs. And now that also is an out for Mikey Varas and the team and company to say, hey, moving forward, these results, we don't have Jeppe, guys. You guys know how important Jeppe is. He's the captain, he's the leader, he's everything. But we're trying our best. We're circling the wagons, and we lose together, and we lose together, and it's all about togetherness. And I'm going to stop spoiling what Mikey said in the post match.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, look, they can say whatever they want. This season is starting to remind me of the last couple of wave seasons. And I think SDFC fans need to be hopeful that it reminds me of last year and not 2 years ago for San Diego Wave FC. Because last year, just if you don't happen to be a Wave fan, and pardon me for my little allegory, but at the beginning of the year last year, San Diego Wave looked exciting. They were scoring goals. They were picking up results. It was like, oh, my goodness, Jonas Eidevall's the new coach. This team's dynamic. They're exciting. And then they went through a period through the summer where they couldn't score a goal. And they were just dropping result. They were losing games that they were tied late. They were tying games that they were ahead, very similar to SDFC. And it just was a summer malaise. And it wasn't until they got out of an international break and had some roster tweaks and new players brought in that they were able to rebuild the second half and the tail end of their season and squeak their way into the playoffs. And they did. They squeaked their way into the playoffs, and they lost their playoff game in overtime. But they had that opportunity, and they made it in. I'm starting to feel like that would be a pretty reasonable story arc for year 2 of SDFC, that this drift is going to continue, and they're drifting down the standings as it happens. Each game that you lose and you drop 3 points, you're drifting down the standings. But at some point, they're going to get the international break. They're going to get a chance to reconfigure the roster. They're going to get a chance to be healthy, have, as Mikey said, a second preseason, and get forward. But how deep will you be in the hole when you get to the point that you want to? Right now, you're in 10th place now. So how deep are you going to be down the standings? And here's where I'll just bat the pickleball back to you guys. How many fans will still be there with you when you do turn it around? The North End is still going to be there with you, but how many of the fans in the rest of Snapdragon Stadium are going to be there? Because I think there's combination of how expensive everything is and everything else. They're starting to make their decisions made as well in terms of staying home.
And it was very visible on TV as I was watching, and just to kind of piggyback a little bit on kind of your wave analogy. Um, you know, I saw this too. I mean, as a Tottenham fan, going to London in 2023, it was exciting when Ange Postecoglou came in. They won a ton of games. They were undefeated in October. They were really good until the halfway mark of the season, and then they started to lose because everyone figured out how to play the Ange Postecoglou system. And guess what? And guess the one thing he was so adamant about was this is his system. He was not going to change it. The issue with the system is with his system was he didn't have the quality players that he needed. Injuries happened, and he had to play a ton of young players. And it showed last year when they finished 17th, and it's showing this year when they're potentially going to be relegated. They have a lot of young players and a lot of injuries. What does that sound like? It sounds like this same team. It's the same thing. It's the same thing that you're not going to change tactics. The tactics are always going to be determined by right to dream. That's never going to change. The what you can change are the players, and if you get good quality players, you're going to get good quality results. And I learned that. I learned that quickly, out of Tottenham. If you're trying to get young players in here to try to replace, someone that was quality, it's not going to work out. It's never going to work out, and it's not working out for Tottenham. And they are in the spot they're in. And for the attendance, I have a feeling that they don't really care. I'm gonna be like straight with everybody. They don't really care because they have Bombino waiting in the wings. They have Dua waiting in the wings to sell off for millions of dollars. And what they're trying to do is also get Soma, get a lot of these other younger players to sell later to get those return on investment. So they don't really, they're going to stick to what they want and what they know. That's the attendance thing. It's going to be a marketing problem. It's their thing to try to figure out and bring more people in. Like, I'm sorry if that's a thing that it's going to irk fans, but I the whole system is based off young players and selling them off. Like that's it. And they're not gonna wait around. They're not gonna wait around for people to come in. Like you're gonna either like the system or you're not, and that's it. And you're gonna have to deal with it.
The one thing that I'll push back on that is that the only revenue that does come in outside of those transfers for our MLS team is attendance and tickets. So there is a contingency that does care. And again, I think I pointed out on Thursday that Tom Penn's out in the community and these seances and these symposiums and, pointing out the fact that, like the attendance is down and these are the factors and these are some of the things that we've realized. And again, it's a compilation of a lot of different things. But the people who are there have started towards the end of the match chanting for number 11. They're starting to chant for Chucky Lozano. It's starting to come up. And it's one of these things where systematically, it's not even Mikey's system. Like that's not something.
It's not
it's not his system. And people who are coming out and saying, "Oh, Vadas out, Vadas this." This is the perfect coach for this system. This is the perfect coach for Right to Dream, even when they're losing, even in the bad time. So he is getting backed up by the front office, by ownership, but it is a matter of him and you starting to see it in these post-match and these media availabilities where he's talking not just to the fans, not just the media, but he is starting to leave little Hansel and Gretel breadcrumbs of info for the front office, and that's something that I do know that it's happening for sure, and it's an unfortunate kind of storm for him because what is he supposed to do? He's not a magic healer. He can't, IA himself, AI himself into a healing pose and put his hand on Luca Bombino and just go from there. Like it's doesn't work that way. And the thing that I think should be more alarming is that they're creating more chances, but they're just trying to walk the ball into the net Like, let's have that edge, shoot the ball. Like, Oni Valakari is in position a lot of different times, and he just tries to lay it off. Everybody's too unselfish. Everybody's too ingrained in the system in that matter. You don't have that eye of the tiger moment where I'm just going to take a shot and see what happens. Even Honors Dreyer is doing that same thing. The guy who, yes, he is an assist master. He knows how to lay it off, but he's the guy that needs to step up in those moments and take those shots and be that person. And, 2 back-to-back goals and from the penalty spot, great, but you need to start scoring in open play for sure.
If you missed it earlier in the week at training, Chiva asked Mikey Vares point blank, is there any scenario by which Chucky Lozano could come back? He didn't say it that pointedly, but he asked that question. Is there a way, what would you think, or what are you thinking about Lozano given what's going on? And Mikey Vares gave him a disappointed parent stare throughout the 30 seconds of asking the question, and then answered in half a second. He said, no chance. So for everyone, Chucky Lozano, like, there it is. There's the stare. That is the look of somebody who promised to take care of the car and then brings it back with a big scratch on the side. Somebody who swore that they would text you when they got to their friend's house, but I forgot. That's the look that Mikey has when you ask him about Chucky Lozano. But I'd like to remind the audience, and then reflect this back to my fellow co-hosts, that it wasn't just Mikey Vares who wanted Chucky Lozano off this team. That the player leadership of San Diego FC was completely within the decision matrix of what was going on, that ownership was involved, that soccer ops was involved, and yes, Mikey was there as well. So if you right now today, just to play it out for the commentariat, okay, if you right now today had Tom Penn walk in on Monday and play Bigfoot, right? Boom, boom, boom. Guess what? I've got my friend here with me. I found him in the parking lot. It's our good friend Irving. Look, Irving's here. And by the way, Irving's going to be part of the team today. He's going to be out on left wing at training today. And you know what? He's going to be in the lineup against LAFC on Saturday. So everyone, reacquaint yourself with your good friend. And don't worry, Mikey, it's all going to work out. Don't worry, Tyler, it's all going to work out. Me here, Tom Penn, with my buddy Irving, around my arm wrapped around his shoulders. If they did that, Alex, Penn would be going directly against his captain's wishes. He wouldn't just, it's not, so that's my point. Everyone's making this, it's Chucky and it's Mikey. Well, they're losing. Now I'm saying, yay, Chucky, no, Mikey. Before, when they were winning, it was like, Mikey, you're so smart. Chucky, who? I hate your videos. Get out of here. As soon as you start losing, all of a sudden that public, it's like it's a seesaw and it's just the two of them and it's going up and down. No, the whole organization made a decision for an $8 million player not to play for them this year, next year, and the year after. They understood that. That's done and dusted. So it really is, in my opinion, and I'll toss it back to you, it's pining over a lost girlfriend. It's bringing up an old argument, essentially, when you start singing, oh, Chucky Lozano. It's basically bringing up an old argument because he's not coming back onto the team. So all you're doing is ruffling feathers with that. And I get it. I understand. We were all mystified when this happened, but it's happened. And they didn't fix it before opening day. They haven't fixed it any day since. And who knows what they're going to do in the summer window. But that's the next time that you get any chance to see something change in this dynamic.
Yeah, their biggest mistake was not getting rid of Chucky in the offseason, and they have to do it in the summer transfer window. Like no matter what, just get rid of him because these questions just are going to keep coming from everyone that they don't get it. They just don't understand that this is more about ownership, their way of thinking, to Tyler, it's everybody. It's everybody on the team. It just he's not welcome at SDFC anymore. Like there's no there shouldn't be any doubt about it. It's just the thing that's happening. And you know, I understand that the one thing I will understand that this isn't the ideal MLS team that most people were thinking. Most people were thinking that, hey, we're getting an MLS team. That means we're going to see stars from Europe come in and come here and perform, and we'll see our favorite players. And this isn't that. Like, this is never going to be that. I like it pains me to say because there's probably like a lot of players like people were thinking like Kevin De Bruyne was going to come through. That's not going to happen. It's just this isn't the team for it. It's not going to be that type of way. So um I think if Tony like can like add anything to it, it just like it seems like this is gonna be the way moving forward. It's gonna be younger players. It's gonna be players you're never gonna hear, never heard of from before. Those are gonna be the designated players like Andre Schreier that are gonna be coming in.
Yeah, I mean, and to go with that too, I can tell you per sources, it was the team. The players also agreed in the decision to not have Chucky Lozano in that locker room, as they believed it was a cancerous relationship with the locker room and the club, aside from the pillars, aside from the right to dream. That just, if the in the direction that everybody was pulling, there was one player that was pulling the other way. And sometimes on the pitch, and this is what people who are seeing that giant hole in offense are asking, like, well, that shouldn't matter. Well, if you're building an academy, if you're building this system where you have young kids who are coming up and you want to teach them the right path to do things, and then you have somebody who's doing things against the grain, and not just against the grain, but detrimental to your values, then that's where the holistic nature of the unfitness of Chucky Lozano in this squad is. Mikey Varas, Tyler Heaps did not bring that person in. It was Tom Penn and ownership before a GM was here, before Mikey Varas was here. Chucky was already here at the Shell. 10,000 people welcomed him because that's the marketing. That's how they got you. That's how they got you guys. Like, I'm sorry, like that's part of the marketing machine. That's part of MLS. That's part of, this isn't your USL championship. This isn't, some slow market team where, let's go ahead and be, all about the player and the quality and this, and whoever is going to come in is going to go ahead and score it. And no, this was a marketing ploy to replicate exactly what they did in LAFC, because that's exactly what happened. They did that in LAFC. Vela came in, sold all the jerseys, they got it together. Systematically, it worked much better. But systematically here with Right to Dream, if Chucky is to come in, Mikey Vanas isn't the one that has to be out. Ownership has to be out. So go ahead and push towards ownership. Go ahead and push towards Mr. Mansour. Push towards Right to Dream to sell the team. Tell Saquon to buzz off. Like that. That's who you should be arguing if you want Chucky Lozano in so bad. Not necessarily the people who have the ability to, wave that magic wand and put him on there for what? For what? For him to score again and then put even more questions in your overall project. That's the mistake that they did last time that they were at home in against Vancouver. They put him on in the second half. He scored and opened all those questions for why isn't Chucky Lozano playing? They should have gotten rid of him. They shouldn't have played him in that. They should have suspended him for the whole time and not say, oh, everything is fixed. But again, nothing is fixed here into 2026 with or without Chucky Lozano. With or without him, it's not getting fixed because the players who are there, the 11 that are starting, not named Chucky Lozano, are not performing well. That's what's happening right now. And even if you had another player on there, this defense isn't holding their weight. They're not playing like they did last year. Jeppe isn't like that he was last year. Godoy isn't like he was last year. Dreyer looks like a shell of himself since he came back for missing that penalty for his country. This is not the same San Diego FC as it was last season. Yes, does Mikey Vadas have some hand in that tactically? He's working with what he got, and I'm not here to defend him. This is just a situation that he's in. Could he have put Alex Mighton last game a little bit, or 2 games ago, a little bit earlier instead of Bryce Duke at right back? Sure. Did he find that out in mid-game? Said, I probably should have done that in the first half as a right back solution. Sure. But then you put Mighton in there and you see what he does in Houston. Absolutely nothing. He goes down and misses an absolute sitter, and he's a liability because if not for his backtracking, he is the one that allows a goal. In this match, okay, same energy. If you want to go after Mighton, go after Mighton. This game, go after Jeppe. Go for it. That's your captain. He got the ball dispossessed in a very silly fashion that he normally doesn't get dispossessed in. And then what happens? McVeigh gets disposed of because he has somebody behind him that they have an option to go ahead and pass him. He has to cover for 2 teams. And now you still get the same result. You still lose. You're in a 5-game losing streak.
All right. I want to switch because we can keep doing this, but I feel like this is a Thursday topic. Like, we can build a very, like, the most charitable argument in favor of the front office and soccer ops, which I think involves part of what Tony said. Chucky was not their choice. Chucky was a Bigfoot choice laid upon the doorstep of soccer ops when they arrived, and it turned out to be something that they needed to change. And then they have been incredibly unlucky this year with red cards and injuries that were timed out at the exact wrong times. And as a result, we're here. That's like the most charitable version. And then you could do a way less charitable version where they were overly arrogant, where they believed in themselves just a little bit too much and gave out a bunch of extensions to players after one good year, gave up a bunch of extensions to coaches in front office after one good year. And then you get halfway into the next year and you start to wonder if any of those choices were really the right choice to be made in retrospect. But I feel like that's a Thursday discussion topic that we can do on Thursday. Let's talk about Duran Ferree, the good and the bad of Duran Ferree, because tonight Duran Ferree makes a couple of really nice saves. Good to bonus saves. 2 very solid saves. Good. Well done. That is what the goalkeeper is supposed to do, but good. Well done. Generally was okay early on in possession and moving the ball and distribution. And then you get to the end of the game when it's 1-1 and Yeppe's out of there, daddy's gone. All of a sudden, the kids are running around the rec room like crazy. And Duran's one of the kids. He's running around the rec room like crazy. He's running off his line like an idiot. And he leaves open a wide open net twice for Anthony, who just misses once. Like, at this point right now, I'm going, okay, well, we've lost on a dumb Ferree move, and this is going to be the entire story. Oh, no, it's wide. What the hell? I guess we're charmed. That's what I'm thinking right there. I'm going, okay, this is just SDFC's night to get a result that they don't earn. Then he does it again. How is this? Where are you going, buddy? Bailed out on the offsides. Doesn't happen. Okay. Yeah. Even though Duke's trying to make it onside. he was trying, dangling that right foot out there. Okay, offside. But 3rd time's a charm for Portland to score late and to take all 3 points. I'm going to go back to something I did say on Thursday's show. which is that I would really appreciate them coming out and saying, we are not trying to win every game. We are not trying to maximize every point. We are not taking the righteous path of excellence where it's a meritocracy and every player who's not excellent is in danger of losing their playing time. No, we're a professional soccer club. We've got a young goalkeeper and we're developing him. We're developing him in front of your eyes. And you know what? Sometimes it's not going to be very pretty, gang. We're going to lose a whole bunch of games this year. I don't expect Mikey or Tyler to say that, but we can say that for them, and they could be a little bit more honest about it. They could say, we're going to do this whether we win or lose, and we might lose 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games this year because the goalkeeper makes mistakes, but we're not going to replace him. We're not going to go to the 2 veteran goalkeepers that we signed, each one of them separately, to long-term contract extensions because reasons, vibes. I don't know. Yeah, it's a conflicting message. Why do you sign these guys and then just give the keys to Duran, and then he keeps bringing the car back with scratches on the fender, and you keep giving him the keys again? Well, let's be honest about it, SDFC. This is our guy. Let's get everyone behind the guy. This is our guy. We're going to keep playing him. He can go flying off the line on Safari again next game. He can do it again every game. He's learning, and we're sticking with him, and we don't think Dos Santos is even an option. And we don't have Cisniega right now, but when we've put him in, we don't like how our defense looks with him. So, guys, it's Duran. Get used to it. Like, the sane washed, run through PR, massaged version of that message, I'd like to hear the club articulate it.
And Craig, you were probably out at Snapdragon. I was listening into the broadcast, and they brought up Patrick Schulte from the Columbus Crew. That the Columbus Crew essentially gave him the job, and they were like, "Yeah, you're a young goalkeeper, but we're sticking with you." Essentially, right? And that's exactly what you're saying. If that's the case here, it might be, but going back to that first goal, I think Duran Ferry should have done more. He should have had a little bit more awareness of where his post was to at least dive, try to make an attempt to try to save that one. But yeah, and then late in the game, it was just rough to see those, just the empty net. I know you guys are on here, but it did remind me of last night a little bit. I was like, oh no, am I watching the Soccers again?
Hey,
I'm sorry.
You're
sorry.
not wrong.
Hey,
You're not wrong.
I had
absolutely
flashbacks.
not
I had
wrong.
flashbacks. Yeah. So
we're gonna win on Monday, Alex.
Yeah, I know.
Keep that message out there in the world, okay?
We're winning on Monday. Yes. But yeah, Duran Ferry, man, it looked a little rough out there. Not the best decision making out there, and how do you defend it, Tony? Like, you're the goalkeeper here. Like,
Tony disappeared.
I know he disappeared. He disappeared.
Oh my god!
I don't want to talk about it, guys.
Oh, okay. There should
no,
change
for
now?
sure. No, I mean, look, I've been talking about it since Duran got the position, right? He earned that position via Cisniega being out on red card, and he had a really good first game. He comes out and has a good second game. There was a point in the season where Duran Ferry had never been scored on in MLS competition. Now we know what that looks like, and with several goals now. But in this right now, Pablo Cisniega is not available. He is injured. I believe it's going to be I don't even want to mention, but he's going to be out, and he has been out for a couple of weeks. He did injure himself in one of the international breaks. It was a scrimmage essentially against I believe Cholos, but he's not available. He's not available now. CJ, he is available. He's out there. He's training. He's warming up, but he's not training to the level that it would warrant him getting that starting position. And that's just the reality of it. And is that just the level of like training? And for training purposes, sometimes I always think this in sports is, hey, if your defense is really good, does that just mean your offense is terrible in training? Vice versa. If your offense is great in training, what's your defense doing? Right? Like there should be some sort of balance. But right now, CJ is just not ready. He just doesn't have that confidence coming back from a massive injury. And I think if he was ready to go, we would have already seen him by now. We may see him next week because Mikey Vadas did say he's trending towards that first starting role. So, Duran didn't do himself any favors. But again, systematically, he's supposed to be off his line right there. Systematically, that's the right to dream motion. And that's what they're going to shield themselves with every single time. To the trained eye of somebody who's been watching soccer forever, every time they go and start the ball from the goalkeeper and go through the middle, it just upsets me so much on a fundamental level. But that's just a style, and I have to get used to that because that's 2026 total football right to dream flavor of soccer, right? And that's what this team is built on. Duran is what they see as the best of both worlds. He is a good shot stopper. He does have good goal saves. There are moments where a lot of moments where he is showing that greenness, and it's easy to just put it out there. But would I be mad if CJ starts? No, because I kind of want to see that now because I want to see what that's going to look like. And if it doesn't change, then what? And I think that's where I was saying to FC. If they do make these changes and nothing results-wise changes, then what?
Right.
Where are you going to go from there?
And you've sapped your confidence. You've just drained your team's confidence. You've taken players and you've dropped them lower, and it's a very difficult situation. I want to get to the post-match sound, but really quick, if you could put up the comment that I saw you flash up real quick that was like, "Hey, Craig, something $24 million about Chucky Lozano." Why do you pay a guy $24 million to have him train by himself? It's the way this team operates, willy-nilly. Okay, well, I don't mean to be trite in saying this, but I'm sure there are some folks in the audience and maybe our commenter unaware of something called logical fallacy. And in this case, the fallacy of sunk cost. And this is something that can crush you in your own personal economics. And it is absolutely something that can affect your sports analysis. And the concept of the sunk cost fallacy, very quickly, is that you're chasing the bad decision that you made before. An example would be, I'm just going to take you back a couple of decades, all right? We are the San Diego Chargers, and we have a terrible quarterback named Ryan Leaf that we can't play, but we have to play him because we picked him second. So you can't have a guy that you picked second and not play him, even if he's terrible, because you picked him second. You invested so much. You've got to see this out. Well, as you would find out, as history would reveal, if you had never played him at all, you would have been better off. Even if you drafted him second, you would have been better off just to never play him at all because he was no good. The money is spent on Chucky Lozano. This is not the National Football League. It's a guaranteed deal. And if, like they did, SDFC wakes up one day and goes, you know what, Chucky Lozano, we don't want him on the team, the money still spends. The money still goes to him. You don't get to say, we don't like you and we're not going to pay you anymore. Boo hiss. You were bad for our club and now you're not here. You don't get to do that. But if you've decided he's the wrong guy for your team, and then you come back to him because, well, we paid him $24 million. So I guess we just got to keep trying. That's the sunk cost fallacy. The decision to pay him is done. It's over with. You failed. You lost that. Don't chase it by screwing up your organization as a result. That's what SDFC decided. Okay. And they do think that Chucky Lozano is bad for the locker room. I'm not saying that he is Ryan Leaf. Okay. I'm not saying that. Chucky Lozano is obviously a very talented player. However, okay, Varis and Heaps are the sunk cost. Well, at some point that could be the case. And that is something that the SDFC upper C-suite someday may have to decide. But you can't reverse the path when you made a choice like this, and you can't keep bringing up the money as the reason. It's a sunk cost fallacy. So, have some fun with Google, go down a rabbit hole, read some stuff about sunk cost fallacy. This is just a great example of it. And, we can keep chasing this around the garden every single time that the team loses a game, but it is not going to change. So it really does become kind of quixotic.
Yeah, and I can add something about designated players. Like, they're not good returns for MLS at all. And you could show, I think there's only like about 10, 12 maybe teams that have 3 designated players, and you know why that is? It's because there's like essentially it's like a luxury tax to have 3 designated players. Like, it's not good for business for MLS, and there's a reason why they push so much. There's so much incentive for the under 22 roster profile, right? They'll give you more GAM, they'll give you more like roster flexibility for this. It's because they see more returns on if you can turn that under 22 into profit and put those players out to Europe or Mexico or anywhere else. But designated players, yeah, it's essentially a sunk cost. You're getting them, you're gonna pay big money, and then you're hoping that ticket sales and merch sales are gonna help you cover that cost. That's it. I mean, there's no like Chucky Lozano, like, or even like Anders Schreier. Like, is there ever going to be like any return like later on? Maybe Anders Schreier, maybe, but really, it's like this might be their final team, or like their next team isn't going to pay them as much as they did here with MLS. And that's why, yeah, like the 3 designated player profile is rarely used, or else everybody would use it. If there wasn't any like cost to it, like everybody would be using it. They'll be bringing everybody over. But we're not going to see that for maybe in the next couple of years, because there's going to be another CBA down in 28 or 29, and maybe the rules change then.
Well, just kind of like realizing, also where your feet are planted. MLS, sorry, is a farmers league. San Diego FC is a farmer team that just so happens to have everything fall in line in their first year. When people are saying, "Oh, Mikey Varas and Tyler Heaps," like this and this, those are the 2 same guys you were singing their praises not too long ago, because they got you to the Western Conference Finals because of the system, because of the way that they're playing with a Chucky Lozano suspended, with a Chucky Lozano, however he was. Those are the guys that get you. So I think they at least earned that benefit of the doubt for this season, right? Because the season that they're having now is supposed to be the season last year. Had this happened last year and nobody had any semblance of how good this team could potentially be, I don't think they'd be calling for Mikey's head or any sort of massive change in the same way. And also, to answer this, who from FC Northland, similar to Chucky, he's already on here. Brian Zamblé.
Oh, no. No.
Again,
There's another guy. There's another guy on there. Maybe. Yeah, like maybe they bring him in. Like, you could bring him in on loan and make him a designated player, and it could be a short-term thing. But to kind of reply to this last guy, LA Galaxy has no GAM. They have no moves to use. So don't get me started with LA Galaxy. They're out of money. They can't make any more moves. They had to use the rest of their GAM on Klaus, and Klaus is hurt. He's gonna be coming back on the second half of the season now. So you can use your money wisely or not.
Let's get to hear what Mikey and Dreyer had to say after this one. We're 50 minutes in. The show's almost over, but let's hear from the coach and a player.
Hey, Mike, before anything else, just your thoughts on what we saw there.
I think we put together a really good first half. Obviously, we conceded a bit of a strange goal in that first half, but and overall it was probably the closest to us looking the way that we know we look when we're at our best. We put them under a lot of pressure. So where the Houston game, I think we had a lot of control of the game, but we weren't ambitious enough to put them under pressure. I thought we actually put them under pressure and had control of the game. The second half was shaky. It was pretty inconsistent. And so when that happens, we lost a little bit control of the game, and then it becomes a bit of a coin toss of what could happen against a team that has good players. At the same time, we also create a couple pretty big chances in a shaky second half that can either put the game away or tie it. It's tough to win games if you don't have a full performance at this level. So we take responsibility for it, and right now we're in a tough moment. But you have to know how to suffer in these moments, and the way you do that is you do it together, and your commitment rises more to doing the things you got to do from a preparation standpoint in training and in all facets to make sure that we keep taking steps forward. And I know nobody wants to hear this. I know no one wants to hear it, but today was a step forward. The result didn't go our way, but we got closer to being who we want to be.
What's the tenor like with the group after 5 straight? Where are its low points? Where are its high points? And when you look at it as a whole, do you see something that's there that defines it, or is this just a matter of different circumstances not playing your way?
Are you saying like why the results aren't going our way?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about the mood of the group?
Two separate things: the mood of the group, and then just what you see when you look at the whole thing as a whole.
Yeah, I think we're there's a few things. One, we're losing some passes that are turning into big chances for the opponent. These are passes that we didn't miss a lot last year. And so we're trying to find that rhythm that gives us that consistency of control of the game and doesn't lead into transitions. That's one thing that we've talked a lot about with the group. I think in previous games, sometimes the pressing intensity wasn't there, but I think the last 2 games, the pressing intensity has been really good. You can see the guys winning more duels, more divided. I think there's also a situation where this happens in football where it's like it's not going in for you. We create a couple of big chances. The guys hit the frame, so they do a good job, and there's a block shot. Goalkeeper makes a good save, hits the post, whatever it is. That's life. But at least I was happy that we got into some good scoring positions today. And then, of course, we deal with, during this course of time, multiple red card situation where backline changes a lot, injuries. We played 3 different left backs today, as they're all not fully fit to play a game, but they're working their way back. I see that as positive news because at least we're getting guys back slowly, but it does make a challenge when everybody has a little bit of a limitation. This is just the circumstances that we're working through in life. And then the mood of the group is very disappointed. Everybody's gutted because we want to win games for the club and for the city. And at the same time, just really hungry to keep working and get back on track.
Questions in English? Someone here in the front with that answer. Mikey, what's your overall message to the fans who are still showing up and supporting the team, but at the end you can also hear some fans chanting for Chucky Lozano. So what's your message overall to the fan base to keep coming back and supporting the club, not just one player?
I will. Everybody has a right to cheer however they want or support however they want. So that's up to every individual, as long as it's not discriminatory or against our values. So I'm a big boy. That's fine. What I would say is thank you for continuing to show up. We're all in this together, and we really appreciate all the support that we get from the fans. We can really feel it. And I think what I would say is that the team is working really hard. This is not a team that has attitude problem or intensity problem. These guys are going out there and leaving it on the field, just like they did last year when they got 63 points and everybody was behind them. But it's a lot easier to be behind a team when it's mostly winning. And now is the tough time. And I think, again, every fan has a right to cheer how they want. I hope that as many as possible support us in this tough time and help us get out of it.
That's exactly damn right, Mikey Vares. That is exactly right. There are so many thousands of soccer fans here in San Diego who know this in the back of their head or in the bottom of their heart. They know this. They know that when they signed up to support a major league soccer team, that it wasn't going to be great every year, that they were going to sign up for weeks and months of pain and suffering and struggle and losses, and that the more you invest emotionally in each result, the more that soccer, just because soccer is a cruel bitch and the second dumbest sport to baseball that you should never watch, of course. Baseball, stupid, unwatchable, but support Padres hot tub. But, like last year, Mikey said it, 63 points. It's awful easy to support a club when they go out there and win every game. And then you get to year 2, and now they're losing some of those very games that they used to win. And you're like, this is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife. This is not what I signed up for. No, you did. You signed up for exactly this. You signed up for las buenas y las malas. And las malas están aquí ahora mismo. Las malas están aquí.
That's very good Spanish, Greg. I actually really appreciate that. But yeah, that's exactly the pain and suffering that fans should be feeling right now. Like it's right now it's the bad times, and it's not always going to be good. As I'm feeling with Tottenham right now. They won their first game in 2026 today. That's terrible. So, and I'm still sticking with them, and I'm going to still stick with them even if they get relegated. So I'm always going to be a fan of that club. I'm always going to be a fan of SanDiego FC, no matter what. Even if they, they're middle of the table and have to, I don't know, play a wild card game out in FC Dallas or something like that, right? It doesn't matter to me. Like I'm still going to be sticking by this club. People just thought this is this is going to be like the easiest thing ever. Me too. I thought too. I for a second after the first couple goals at FC Dallas, I thought this was going to be a great season, and then it turned bad. This is the third time they've given up a late goal, and this is just what happens. And they just don't have the quality in players right now, and we just have to wait. We just have to wait and see until the summer transfer window, and that's my only hope. That's my only hope for like if people want change, if people want to see some differences coming in, you just have to see what Tyler Heaps has in mind. Come this summer.
That right there. 9 out of 15 teams make the playoffs.
Yep.
SanDiego FC, if they make playoffs, which they more than likely will, a back-to-back inaugural season, playoffs, second season, playoffs, success. Again, like this is a championship just starved team, city for sure, but steps. And I think
Exactly.
that was
we were supposed to be fed on Friday and we had to wait till Monday. We're hungry.
Yeah, we were. Check us out on Monday, guys. San Diego Soggers. But I mean, this is just kind of like the reality where everybody's in, and you can tell, like, you know, Mikey's wearing it, like for sure. He's going through it, and so is his team. Like this is not necessarily the peachy, you know, all sunshine and rainbow San Diego that you were promised. No, literally, it rained today, and Portland brought it with them, and even then, it just the whole feeling of today seems appropriate to where San Diego FC is. And is there a change in sight? Unless everybody becomes incredibly healthy out of nowhere, no. And if they do, this is a ninth place playoff team, and I do believe that right now. This is still a playoff team, and you know they're still scoring in top 10 and I believe still top 10 in scoring across all MLS. So you know they're just the results aren't going that way. They should be playing better. They're not playing good, but for MLS, again, center yourself what you're watching. You're not watching Champions League. You're not watching La Liga. You're not watching the Premier League. You're not watching. And if you are, just watch Tottenham if you want to suffer.
Yeah.
Or Chelsea. I mean, we're. Oh, sorry, Craig. Our houses are not doing well right now. It's
got it.
The dead of winter.
Hey, and Tony, like you just said, like a key thing right now that. Mikey Varas is taking the hits, and we have to remember the sequence of events that happened. Chucky was told he's not coming back, and then Varas got his extension. He got that extension knowing that this was coming. Like this was eventually, this could happen. Things could go bad, and he's gonna have to take the hits. That's what the extension is for. Like, I think that's another thing that people have to realize is like, he's here to take the hits. He's the shield. He's the human shield for the whole organization to be taking all the hits because he's not going anywhere. He's here because everyone's on board. Mikey, go defend everything. Go defend the system. Go defend Right to Dream. Go defend everything. You're going to be the guy to do all that.
The whole commentary about you guys are content with mediocrity.
No,
like that's really making me laugh. But
Craig knows
also,
I'm not.
Yeah,
I want the Padres to be the best. He knows. He knows how down I get with the Padres.
Here's some Spanish for you, Craig. Honestly,
here we go.
Me vale verga.
I'm personally enjoying it, Alex, because I'm seeing you react as my meniscus hurt keeps putting up these posts, and those are the exact posts you put in our Discord about the Padres.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like the exact ones. It's wild. People are okay making excuses to be mediocre instead of striving to be great. I'm like, bro, it's baseball. Like they're striving really hard. The game sucks. It's hard. Soccer's the same. It's the second most random sport. You can play amazing and lose. You can play horrible and win. Today, SDFC was one fewer breakdown away from playing horribly and tying. And allowing Mikey to go, no, we really played better. No, we're doing this. And he's right. When they break down the film, they're going to have fewer things to put on the red reel and more things to put on the green reel today. But then you get to this and it's not cleared and it's in your net and they're going to celebrate and you're going to lose. You know, like this is just the stuff that's going on right now with this club. Las malas están aquí. You know, I guess that's the title of tonight's show. You know, that's where we are right now. But if you signed up to be a fan of this team, you're going to stick through that and not try to burn the house down because it wasn't as perfect as you asked for it. You know, it wasn't what they gave you in year one. In that way, I almost feel like if they had a classic shitty expansion team finish 14th like all of the people on the Apple TV roundtable predicted him to finish, that would have toughened up the soles of your feet as fans to be able to walk over the jagged ground a little bit. It would have made folks into a little bit tougher versions of fans. Instead, it's like, oh, what? We're losing? Oh my God. And fire everybody. Everyone's wrong. Everyone's the problem. I'm sorry. I can't go there. You support this organization. They signed all these guys to multi-year extensions. 8 weeks later, you want to get rid of them all? Like, let's get back to regular sports fandom. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but trust me, I'm not trying to tell you how to fan. You can feel any way you want, and maybe history will prove people right or wrong. If you want to say on April 25th, 2026, that Mikey Varas and Tyler Heaps will never win in MLS and that they're never going to make it and that the team should move on immediately because they're never going to make it, okay. Historically, you're always going to be right if you say that someone's not going to achieve something. Like, you're far more likely to be right if you say not than yes, but you're also never going to get anywhere. So, personally, I'm in this for the long haul. So even if the entire year sucks ass, there's next year, and they'll make changes. And no, I'm not going to be just like, yay, I'm happy you showed up. No, there's consequence to everything. But we're in the middle. We're in the middle of this. We're in the middle of it. They've lost 5 in a row. You need to fire everyone today? I don't think you'd probably be a good boss of a company. Sorry. You can't just always fire everybody when things go not exactly the way you like it for a little while. That's how you create chaos.
And again, you want to fire somebody? Fire Mansour. Fire Right to Dream. That's who you should be looking at. Like, sure, you can fire the manager. You can fire the guy, greeting you at Walmart. Like, sure, that's fine. But is that really the root of the problem? If that is the problem that you're saying, no. Again, like, keep demanding. I want to see that demand. Like, have that vitriol against Mikey and Tyler. Sure, keep it going, but then keep it going even further to Tom Penn, to the Right to Dream Academy, to Tom Vernon, to whoever you want. You go after Mo Salah for not coming here. Like, go for it. Like, it's okay. Yeah, it's professional sports, but in professional sports, there's two things, and it's the yin and yang. Either you get rid of everybody, and then you just look around and say, well, who do we have now? Well, it's just these people are trying to put it together, and they're trying to work with what they have, and they had a mess, and that's why we did so bad. Or you stick to it, you find some shining light at the end of it, and then if it turns out to be a golden turd, then you get rid of it. Like, that's what. But you have to be able to see what you have and be a prospector and say, this might be something, or it might be just a golden piece of crap, and then we gotta assess from there. But right now, it's incredibly early in the season. This MLS is crazy, and there's a giant World Cup break coming up, and for that, it's going to be a giant reset for every single 30 teams here is going to have a giant reset for the second half.
Fans will have a reset as well, right, Alex?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is just 10 games out of 34. There's still tons to play. There's still a lot of games to play, and you don't know. Yeah, you don't know exactly what's going to come out of the other side of the World Cup break. So, there's still plenty to be excited about. I honestly like that McVay was back there. There's still, some positives. McVay was back. He did a lot of clearance, a lot of defensive work, and David Vasquez looked good. And Monadua. And guess what? Anibal Godoy actually played very good. He was actually very decent. He was intercepting passes. He was getting in the way of passes. He was getting in the lanes. It looked a little bit. It looked a little bit better. It looked a little bit better, but they still have to piece it all together. Like, the whole team has to work for this to keep going. So, Yeah, those are my only positives of this game. Is McVay, Vasquez, Godoy look decent.
Yeah, no red cards.
No red cards. Yep, no red cards. Yep, there we go. Yeah,
It's okay. It's completely okay for everybody to be frustrated with what's going on. The lashing out is natural. It's emotional, and it's the nature of our online discourse where everyone has to say the tougher thing, and then if it's not making you feel the way that the dopamine in your system wants you to feel, you need to get angry and say a whole bunch of stuff. But none of us on this show want SDFC to be mediocre, and none of us are complacent with losing 5 in a row. We're also not powerful. We're the guys who just talk about it. We talk about the game, and you all enjoy the conversation. And I enjoy the feedback. I enjoy the live shows. I enjoy seeing it. I get why everyone's frustrated. It's also 11. It's on a Saturday night. People are tired. Who knows how many pops you've had along the way, over the course of the night. So maybe it's a good time to put this to rest. SDFC loses this game. They lose it late. They lose it in heartbreaking fashion. They had a point. They had at least something, just that tiny little float, life preserver that you could just hang on to in the tempestuous bay and be like, okay, no, at least they're here. At least they're floating a little bit. No, we're sinking a little bit further. We're sinking a little bit further for sure. But I'd like to, before I go, I'll address this from @TonyChiva4ever. We just don't see you guys angry. You can't tell it angers and pains you to watch these games.
you know why it doesn't anger me at all? It's because it's year 2. It's year 2 of this. We had a great year 1. This is year 2, and I still have to feel this out and see what's going to happen. So
it's your Padres mentality. Whatever, dude. Whatever.
Is it my Padres? It's not my Padres mentality.
No, I know. No, he's talking to me. This guy's talking to me saying, "Yo, you're so complacent and media." Whatever, bro. Like, fine. Please go head down to Singing Hills and yell at the building and see what's going to happen. Look,
I will welcome that. If people want to go down to Singing Hills and start protesting and go and tell Mansour to kick rocks, I'm all for that. Go, work the picket lines and all that. All for it. Go do that. I won't be there. I have a day job, but you guys go for it.
Yeah. I've been around sports a long time in my life, Tony. I feel like there's the lash out angry, that you can light that fire once, but when you're done, there's nothing but ash left. There's nothing to build upon.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I'm the only one that I think does have that crazy competitive thing, maybe on the back, because I've actually played that soccer to that sort of level. So I welcome a one-on-one challenge in real life for anybody. So bring it on down. Penalties, let's do it. But look, for me, my only baseline for this soccer, because of the coverage I have to do, and I've been consistent for 6 years. Hey, I have to be neutral for everything. But the one thing is that I do support the city. And the moment that this team or any other team, any sports team embarrasses a city, whether it's the fan base, whether it's the team on the field doing something they're not supposed to, then that's when I'll get angry. But hey, Craig, I work with kids and I work with those parents. Yeah. If you want to get angry, there's things to get angry about, but sports like this
10, like if you want to get mad on April 25th, cool, but stop watching the season. Then I'm sorry to inform you, there's going to be matches practically every week until the last game of MLS is the week before Christmas. The week before Christmas.
It's going to be a long,
so we're here to cover the whole thing. So, it's always been my personal nature, and I've done a lot of post-game shows in my life, that When the team's going horrible, I'm going to try and look for the things that are going a little bit better. And when the team's going well and everyone is sis boom ba and they hate it when you say one critical word, I'll find that critical word. Like I'll figure out what could do better or what is masking an issue along the way, because this is sports. The teams go up, teams go down, fortunes rise and fall. And right now, SDFC is in an absolute rut. And what does it mean? What is the actual tangible meaning of it right now? Basically nothing. They're still in the fight. They haven't been eliminated from anything. With 3 good results, they could be right back up in the top quartile of the league standings. Nothing is especially destroyed. We're just in a bad rut right now. Is it good? No. Are there problems? Yes. Have we talked about it every week? We have. So let's pack her up. Crap night. Horrible finish. Team's going to keep trying. They're going to show up Monday. They're not just going to come out with belts, and be like, all right, everybody, it's time for the whipping. We'll show you. Like, they're not going to do that. They're going to work on the next game plan, and they're going to work on the next training, and they're going to try and beat LAFC on Saturday. And you know what? They might. You know why? Because soccer's almost as stupid as baseball. And weird-ass things happen all the time. And right when you think that you know exactly what's going to happen, it doesn't happen that way. So let's see what happens. I'll tell you one thing I hope happens. I hope on Monday the San Diego Sockers win this town another professional championship. They got Milwaukee at 7 o'clock at Front Wave Arena. There's 2-for-1 tickets available at frontwavearena.com and sdsoccers.com. Frontera SD is telling me, Los Brujos are telling me, they say we're running it back. We're going to get back out there. So let's do it all in San Diego. It doesn't always come when you want it, guys. And that's why you support. It doesn't always come when you want it, but if you stick with it, sometimes you get a great finish at the end. So we'll get that to Monday. And then on Thursday, we'll be back with another episode of Chromaniacs and another opportunity to talk about our beloved club, our beloved professional soccer club that we spent years and decades hoping and praying and campaigning and doing everything that could we please have an MLS team. Oh my God, I just wish we had first division soccer. Monkey paw girls, careful what you ask for. When you get pro soccer, you get 5-match losing streaks too. That's part of it. And that's part of the fun of it. Puma, the answer is 6 with 7 starting Tuesday. That's the answer right there, brother. All right, Tony, tell everybody how to support this wonderful, independent, professional, journalistic effort to cover soccer in San Diego that appears to be unmatched by all other media.
Well, the name of the game is SanDiego.Futbol. You're here. If you found it, good job. If you hit the like button, it turned into a soccer ball. No, seriously, try it out. Like it's actually pretty cool. SanDiego.Futbol will be back with 2 balls and a mic on Tuesday because San Diego Sockers play on Monday for a championship. So we'll have to move that over. And if you are, ¿cómo se llama este cabrón? Este poster child, DM me. I really want to do a penalty shootout. I'm so down for that. I'm so down for that. We'll record it. We'll make it fun. Anything to get back out there. But any case, SanDiego.Futbol for everything. Alex, what about you?
Yeah, just ChromaticFC.com. I'll have a recap of this and then, tie this post game up on a newsletter and send it out to everybody. If you want to subscribe, go to ChromaticFC.com. And I keep forgetting. I got to thank all the new subscribers out there. So, thank you for subscribing. What about you, Craig?
Well, cover all of these teams. Hey, by the way, San Diego Wave FC was down 2-0 in Denver and came back and won 3-2. They've won 5 games in a row. So the yin and the yang of pro sports. It's down for SDFC. It's up for Wave. Last year it was up for SDFC. It was down for Wave. Big wheel keeps on turning is what I got to say. And the Padres keep spinning that wheel in the right direction. They had another comeback win down in Mexico City today over the Diamondbacks. We talk about it. If you're a Padres fan, at Padres Hot Tub. You can find the free show here on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. But if you want to get shows after every win, 4 or 5 shows a week, you can get it for just $5 at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub, patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Thanks for everyone. Thanks for the engagement. Thanks for the time. Thanks for your passion as SDFC fans. We truly appreciate it. For Tony Sanchez and Alex Pena, I'm Craig Elston. Until next time, vamos, SDFC.